Thank you, Sean Kyne. I'm delighted to have an opportunity to say a few words on this bill. One of the most startling aspects of our economic crisis related to the way that some large construction companies or property developing companies conducted their business. Emboldened by some irresponsible members of the banking sector, some property developers never actually repaid substantial loans acquired, but merely rolled them over using new loans. It was an effective house of cards, needing only one non-payment to cause the system to collapse, with serious and negative consequences for any party involved. Unfortunately, this included the small community-sized contractor or subcontractor. Because of the financial pressures which exist, not forgetting the gambling nature of some developers, a situation has now arisen where payment for services provided by subcontractors is being withheld or delayed. Such a practice is abhorrent and shows a lack of regard and respect for other businesses and the people behind them. It is impossible to plan properly or to meet one's own payment requirements if uncertainty exists over the delivery of payments owed to one's own company. In light of the difficulties, Senator Sean Kyne introduced the Construction Contracts Bill during the dying days of the last government. Unfortunately, this bill remains static because of the political climate until its swift reintroduction following the general election. The Construction Contracts Bill aims to ensure prompt cash flow, thereby protecting jobs and to facilitate the swift resolution of problems and issues in a non-judicial setting. The bill has many positive features. It will, insofar as possible, be cost neutral to the state, which is important at this time, but highlights that a lack of resources does not mean that positive, constructive legislation should not be or cannot be enacted. The bill injects a sense of fairness into a sector which has received considerable criticism and bad press. It will fairly set out proper and clear payment procedures, which in all truth should feature in every industry and in every business transaction. Another positive is the embracing of an alternative dispute resolution mechanism. The court system is an expensive one for businesses and individuals for reasons which are part of another debate. Companies under financial pressure can ill afford the risks at times of entering the courts. Furthermore, the judicial process can heighten tensions and deepen problems, as opposed to mediation and non-judicial resolution mechanisms, which can be calmer, less divisive and more constructive. The government demonstrated support for the positive aspects of the bill and for broadly tackling and reforming problematic areas by commissioning a detailed regulatory impact analysis of the bill. The analysis outlines three possible courses of action. The first is to do nothing, which naturally causes no extra financial burden on the state, but this is not an option. The market, as the analysis notes, is not working. It is leading to delays and disputes, and it is an inefficient use of our scarce resources. We all know too well the trouble that doing nothing in terms of regulation and oversight can cause. The second course of action is to introduce this bill as it stands. I've outlined the very positive elements of the bill, which will benefit all involved in the industry by safeguarding and formalising payment. The third option is to introduce the bill but with certain amendments. One particular amendment is, I think, necessary to strengthen the spirit of the bill. As it stands, the bill would not apply to contracts in respect of an individual's dwelling, which I believe to be appropriate, given that the thrust of this bill is to assist subcontractors and small contractors. However, as others have stated here, the stipulation that the bill not apply to contracts worth less than €200,000 poses a problem. It would effectively exclude significant swathes of contracts which would correctly be viewed as the bread and butter contracts for most companies in this industry. It is also out of step with the experience of the industry in the UK, which demonstrates a high value in setting a lower threshold. It would be shameful to allow the Construction Contracts Bill to pass without amending the threshold level and extending its applicability. It would go against the stated objectives, which, when considered, are really about helping the small to medium businesses and contractors in the construction industry. I would also like to see, as the impact analysis highlights, a measure to protect the suppliers of goods and materials, particularly suppliers tailored specifically for individual construction contracts. One likes to believe that fairness and fair play underpin business transaction, and in the majority of cases they do. However, we have a duty as legislators to ensure to step in and provide supports to uphold these principles when they are endangered. I believe the Construction Contracts Bill, subject to a number of amendments, in particular the lowering of the threshold figures, will achieve this. Thank you, Sean Kyne.